How often do you really stop and think about how you pay for things online? We tap, we click, scan.
And the money just moves.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
feels so seamless, almost like magic. But this digital flow, it isn't just about convenience, is it? It's this massed, rapidly expanding global force. It's really reshaping economies.
Fundamentally.
And that's precisely what we're diving into today.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting well-informed and, well, fast. We're digging into the insights from a really detailed market research report. And we're going to chart the explosive evolution of the global online payment market. Looking back from 2021 all the way through to a pretty bold forecast for 2033.
It's quite a time frame.
It is. Our mission here today is really to help you grasp the sheer scale and, the speed of this digital finance revolution, and maybe more importantly, the why behind these, frankly, staggering numbers.
And what it all means, practically speaking.
Exactly, what it means for the global economy and maybe even your own sort of financial landscape.
And trust me, the numbers themselves really put this transformation into perspective. Globally, this market was worth around $20 billion in sales revenue back in 2021.
Just $20 billion. It seems almost small now, looking ahead.
It does, because by 2025, that number is projected to more than double, over $42 billion.
Wow.
And then, get this, by 2033, we're looking at a massive leap to nearly $187 billion.
Okay, that's huge. $187 billion.
Huge. And it's fueled by an impressive 20.4% compound annual growth rate, the CAGR. So this isn't just steady growth. It's like a digital tsunami.
Yeah, 20% year-over-year compounded growth that's incredibly fast for a market this size.
It really shows how quickly financial transactions are digitizing worldwide.
Yeah.
And when we talk about this market, we're looking broadly at, everything from e-commerce, digital wallets,
online bill payments, peer-to-peer transfers, basically anything without physical cash or cards changing hands online.
Right. All that digital movement of money.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is that while those global figures are truly immense, the story gets even richer when we drill down into the regions.
Okay.
Because this growth isn't uniform everywhere. Understanding the specific regional dynamics, that really helps us grasp the why.
So where is it booming the most?
Well, we're going to explore that, how some areas are accelerating faster than others. You see unique patterns leading countries emerging within each region. It makes you ask, what's actually powering these digital payment powerhouses in different parts of the world?
All right, let's do that. Let's unpack this region by region, starting maybe in North America.
Sounds good.
The online payment market there, the report says, stood at just over $5.4 billion in 2021. By 2025, it's projected to more than double again to $11 billion, and then surge to over $47 billion by 2033. That's growing at a strong 20% CAGR.
Right around that global average, but on a very large base already. And what really stands out here is that this region, particularly the United States, it's clearly leading the charge, not just in sheer scale, but in how deeply digital payments are just integrated into daily life.
You mean like digital wallets, Apple Pay, Google Pay, that sort of thing?
Exactly. Think about the pervasive use of those, the sheer volume of e-commerce subscription services. That's a key driver there. The U.S. market alone is set to rise from about $4.1 billion in 2021 to an incredible $35.5 billion by 2033.
Wow, that's the lion's share of the North American figure.
It is. But it's not just the U.S. Canada and Mexico are also charting significant climbs. Their IDRs are hovering right around that same 20% mark, too.
That is the broad trend across the continent.
It really demonstrates that this digital shift is a comprehensive regional phenomenon. It's driven by convenience, sure, but also by a really mature digital infrastructure that was already in place.
Okay, so North America's growth is kind of building on an already advanced digital landscape. What about across the pond in Europe? How does that compare? The market there was approximately $4.3 billion in 2021, forecasted to hit over $8.7 billion by 2025, and then climb to over $38 billion by 2033. Also a 20% CAGR.
Very similar overall growth rate, yeah.
So a strong, consistent story. Are there unique aspects driving it there? I mean, Europe has such diverse economies.
That's an excellent point. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, yes, countries like the UK, Germany, France, They're all showing robust individual growth, absolutely.
The usual suspects, you might say.
Kind of. But what's particularly dynamic, according to the report, is the segment they identify as rest of Europe.
Oh, interesting. What does that cover?
Well, it encompasses the countries outside those big 3 or 4 economies. And this segment boasts the region's highest CAGR, just over 21%.
Higher than the big players?
Slightly, yes. It's expanding from under $16.8 billion in 2021 to over $8 billion by 2033. That's a tenfold increase.
Wow. What does that suggest?
Well, it suggests really widespread digital adoption beyond the largest economies. Perhaps it's driven by, the increasing ease of cross-border e-commerce within the EU.
Right, the single market effect.
Could be. Or maybe a rapid adoption of innovative fintech solutions in smaller, possibly less saturated markets. They might be catching up fast.
So it's not just about the established leaders anymore. It's becoming a truly continental embrace of digital payments.
Exactly. It's broadening out.
Okay, so we've seen this digital acceleration in North America and Europe. It's clearly not just a Western thing. Let's zoom in now on Asia Pacific. The report calls it the, quote, undisputed fastest-growing regional powerhouse.
And the numbers back that up strongly.
They really do. Here, the market jumps from around $7.4 billion in 2021.
Already the largest starting point.
Right, to over $15.5 billion in 2025. And then it absolutely skyrockets over $72 billion by 2033, at a staggering 21.1% CAGR.
Just edging out rest of Europe for the highest growth rate?
That is just a monumental leap. What on earth is powering that kind of explosive growth, especially in a region with such diverse economic landscapes?
Well, this region truly is remarkable, and the drivers are fascinating. You look at countries like China and India.
Huge populations.
Exactly. It's driven not only by sheer population size, but also by what we often call the leapfrogging effect.
Ah, leapfrogging, meaning skipping steps.
Precisely. Many consumers are bypassing traditional banking systems almost entirely. They're going straight to mobile wallets for, well, everything. Daily groceries, utility bills, sending money.
Right, like WeChat Pay and Alipay in China, or UPI in India.
Exactly. Those platforms, they aren't just payment methods, they're deeply embedded into the social and economic fabric that drives immense volume.
Oh, I see.
China, for instance, is forecast to move from around $2.8 billion in 2021 to a phenomenal $28.7 billion by 2033.
Almost $29 billion just in China.
Just incredible. And India is showing parallel momentum, expected to reach over 13 billion dealers. And what's fascinating is how these countries, along with others like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, they're all propelling the Asia-Pacific market forward. Their individual KGRs are consistently in that high 20%, low 21% realm.
So it's widespread and incredibly fast-paced transformation.
An unprecedented pace, really.
Okay, so while Asia-Pacific is just exploding, what's happening in parts of the world where maybe traditional banking is less entrenched to begin with, let's pivot to South America.
Okay.
The market there climbs from about $1.2 billion in 2021 to over $3 billion by 2025, eventually reaching over $13.6 billion by 2033. That marks a 20.6% CAGR.
Also outpacing the global average, interestingly.
Yeah, slightly above that 20.4%.
Yeah.
So how does the growth story compare here? What are the unique drivers in South America?
Well, what stands out in South America is how countries like Brazil, Argentina, and Colombia are consistently showing growth rates that are actually outpacing that global average you mentioned. Brazil alone is set to grow from just over $0.4 billion to over $4.6 billion by 2033.
Another tenfold increase.
Yes. And a huge driver here, often, is the rise of really agile fintech startups.
Ah, the fintech scene.
Exactly. These companies are innovating incredibly quickly. They're serving populations that might have been historically underserved by traditional banks. They're making digital payments accessible to a much wider segment of society.
So it's about financial inclusion as much as convenience.
Very much so. It demonstrates the strong embrace of digital payment solutions across the continent, signaling really significant shifts in both consumer and business behavior, often driven by that need for greater access.
Right. Okay, and finally, let's cast our gaze towards the Middle East and Africa. Now, these regions might have started from a smaller base in 2021.
Relatively smaller, yeah.
But they seem to be seeing incredibly rapid shifts, too. The Middle East market begins at under $1 billion in 2021, scaling to over $8 billion by 2033. That's a solid 18.8% CAGR.
Still very strong growth.
And in Africa, the market grows from about $1.8 billion in 2021 to over $7.6 billion by 2033, delivering a strong 19.3% CAGR.
Also robust.
So while these KGRs might be slightly below that 20% mark we saw elsewhere, the absolute growth and, I guess, the speed of adoption are still really substantial, aren't they? What are the dynamics here?
That's a crucial point. You're right. Their starting points are lower, and the KGR is maybe a percentage point or two behind the leaders. But it's the rapid adoption rates in these emerging markets that really solidify their place in the future of global digital payments.
So people are jumping on board quickly.
Very quickly. Countries like Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE in the Middle East, and Nigeria, South Africa, and Africa, they're all posting really significant increases year on year. This signals a truly transformative era for financial inclusion in these regions, too. Digital payments here can literally bridge gaps left by maybe less developed traditional banking infrastructure.
Makes sense. Are there challenges specific to these regions, though?
Absolutely. It's worth noting that this kind of rapid expansion, especially in such diverse landscapes, it brings its own set of challenges. Things like ensuring robust regulatory frameworks can actually keep pace with the speed of innovation.
Right. Regulation often lags behind tech.
It does, and also addressing potential disparities in digital access, making sure everyone can participate, not just those in urban centers or with smartphones. So yes, it's a growth story with huge potential, but also, evolving complexities to manage.
Got it. Okay, so to kind of recap our deep dive then, the global online payment market is truly on an unprecedented acceleration path. We've charted its journey from, what was it, around $20 billion in 2021
$20.13 billion.
to an astonishing projection of nearly $187 billion by 2033.
Yeah.
And that's all powered by that consistently high, roughly 20% compound annual growth rate.
An incredible trajectory.
And we've identified these undeniable growth epicenters. You've got Asia Pacific clearly leading the charge, the fastest growing regional powerhouse, driven by mobile-first adoption, massive scale.
And that leapfrogging effect we talked about.
Exactly. Then Europe, showing dynamic growth, especially surprisingly, outside its largest economies.
Yeah.
Maybe thanks to cross-border e-commerce and fintech innovation.
Right, that rest of Europe story.
Then South America, where those agile startups are really bringing financial inclusion to the forefront, driving growth above the global average. And of course, North America, leveraging its, mature digital infrastructure and e-commerce dominance for continued strong growth.
Building on a strong foundation.
And let's not forget the really significant rapid adoption rates we just discussed in emerging markets across Africa and the Middle East, even with their sort of unique developmental considerations and challenges.
Definitely part of the global picture.
All of this just solidifies the idea that we are truly witnessing a transformative era in how money moves around the globe.
It really is transformative. And, this consistent high-speed growth across such diverse regions, it really encourages us, I think, to consider the broader implications.
Like what comes next?
Exactly. Given these projections, thinking about what new opportunities or maybe even challenges might emerge as digital payments become even more ubiquitous globally. How might this impact traditional financial systems? Are they keeping up? Or even things like individual economic participation in the coming decade?
That's a great question to leave people with. How does this shift things for individuals and old institutions?
Right. So we invite you, the listener, to maybe continue exploring how these powerful trends might shape your own financial landscape and certainly the broader global economy.
Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.